If you got caught lying, what would happen to you? If you got caught lying at work, you'd probably get fired. If you got caught lying at home, probably get punished. Some accountability, some responsibility. But apparently, if you're the president of the United States, accountability doesn't mean anything if you lie. And if you lie to the people who tried to vote you in, it obviously does not matter. And guess which president I'm talking about? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Rent Network. I'm David Solomon. He is Stuart Briscoe. This is the Rent Network, where we bring you unedited, unfiltered, and uncensored conversations on a wide variety of topics. This podcast has been this platform for you guys to express your opinions, our opinions, share thoughts, your thoughts, our thoughts, their thoughts, everybody's thoughts, experiences, and ideas, and hear from a variety of perspectives and honest opinions. We dive into the latest news, pop culture, and so much more. We do deal with absurdity of modern life to discussions about the deeper issues affecting society. Folks, this is what the Rent Network has been all about since day one. So sit back and relax as we get into today's version and today's conversation about lies my president has told me. Stuart, I started by saying there's no accountability. And I think I was wrong in my premises because the U.S. voters did smack the Biden-Harris administration in the side of the head in accountability because they're fed up of the lies. They were fed up of the silliness. Well, it would seem that Joe Biden has shown once again his true colors by saying one thing and doing another.
Thanks, David, for that quiet introduction. I want to remind everyone of the following. David and I spoke about this literally, 2 months ago, 3 months ago. A statement from President Joe Biden. I signed a pardon for my son, Hunter, from the day I took office. I said I would not interfere with the Justice Department decision-making, and I kept my word even as I watched my son being selectively and unfairly prosecuted. Okay. Let's dissect that first sentence. Russian collusion, Hillary Clinton. I don't know. It makes Watergate look like it was the desert. Okay. This man unequivocally had puppets, not that he's not a puppet, stand in front of the world and say, I will not pardon my son. So he pardoned him from the first day he took office. Wow. And by the way, that pardon is good for 10 years for anything that he may have done, known or unknown. Well, do you know what that means? They found out he murdered someone. Yeah, can't do shit against him. He has a pardon. It now opens the doorway for all you hardcore Democrats to pardon all the January 6 people as well. You know what? It allows the President of the United States to pardon all of his cohorts. It allows the President of the United States to pardon himself. Hell, he can pardon Joe Biden as well. But you know who's not pardoned? Joe Biden's brother. None of the rest of the family's pardoned. They're open season for Donald J. Trump. But Donald Trump thinks his success is shameful enough. Obama put people and hung them out to dry. He put Biden out to dry. And, the rumor is that Joe Biden and Jill Biden voted for Donald J. Trump. And I'd love to find out if there's any way to get that answer. So if you out there know a way that we can get that answer, PM us, please. But I'd like to tell you, his son is guilty of sin for drugs, prostitution, firearms, probably conspiracy, influence peddling, I don't know, IRS. What are we forgetting about here, David? What have I left out of this equation? Not much. But if this would be a Republican and Donald Trump would pardon his kid, Whoopi Goldberg would shit out a bagel. She would have a cow. The View would be in overdrive. In fact, I may even tune into The View to hear about what they're chatting about this morning. But no one could be happier than his son and his mother, his wife, because now their goody, goody, good son is pardoned, and he's going to spend the rest of his years helping people like himself that are in trouble. I don't know what that means. But what I do know is he absconded and peddled money from the US government to international people. And, maybe even sold secrets that we don't even know. But he can't be charged for any of this. And Merrick Garland, the wonderful man himself, is Biden's DOJ. So who found him guilty? It's outrageous. I am going to sit back, David, and this week we are going to watch and see the Democratic Party rip themselves to shreds. And now, from all of them backpedaling their comments, I mean, they all have sound bites out there. Oh, that's the right thing to do. He shouldn't pardon his son. You see how altruistic he is? Now, the argument that I can pose is that maybe Joe forgot he said he wasn't going to pardon his son. I mean, he is a senile old fuck who really should have been taken out on 25. But you know what? He never should have been elected to begin with. That election probably was stolen out of the get-go. And either way, who cares? It's a thing of the past. Donald Trump lost the 2020 election. But JP stood there for 4 years almost and argued that her boss was of sound mind, sound body, and would not under any circumstances pardon his son. Now, she isn't giving any press conferences this week. She's traveling in Air Force One. But I'd like to bet you, David, $5 she ends up as a special guest on The View and maybe even get a seat on The View. Because I don't know what other news agency can hire other than CNN. But even they may not even want to hire her for what lies she spewed from that pulpit. David, what do you got to say?
You went on again about the election, and I really didn't care. But it's just a question of right now, the truth finally emerges. Kamala Harris, we said a couple of weeks ago, after the election, she says she was really for Israel. And we heard her stepdaughter went out and made a big fundraiser for Gaza. Like, really, you're supporting Israel? That's a great way of doing it. And we see that this presidency has just become lies. But Stuart, where I think you kind of missed out on is the cover up. The fact that the media buried, if you remember before the 2020 election, they buried the Hunter Biden laptop story. Okay, that it was admitted that pressure was put on the Facebooks and on Twitter to deny not just COVID in any social networks, but also the Hunter Biden laptop, that it was made up. That the New York Post, if you recall, lost its ability to post on social media because they wanted to bury the Hunter Biden laptop. And people said that had they known really that this was a story, they may not have voted for Biden in 2020. So we saw what happened. And here we are now, 4 years later, after denials, after rejections, after Hunter Biden didn't even show up for a subpoena. He was in contempt.
No, he did show up. He showed up outside the courthouse.
Right. No, he didn't show up inside. He showed up in front of the building, held a press conference, and took off. And that's held in contempt. And once again, it just showed that the Biden family, Stuart, and this is the point I'm trying to say, is the Biden family tried to say we are for the people. The Democrats always say we are the party of the people. But what you see is they're the elitists. They are the real elitists. They believe that what they do has no bearing on you and me. What it is I'm above the law, I'm above the rules, and don't come after me. And I will do everything in my power. So first it's denial, and now it's pardon. If he was really innocent, Stuart, let it go to court. Let the whole world hear that Hunter Biden was innocent. No, instead, what they wanted to do was to get rid of the story altogether. That Joe Biden's legacy was way more important than anything else. And as a result, we have to erase history. We have to eradicate what the accusations. And as a result, a pardon was granted, though he said he wasn't going to do it. And this has been the card that the Biden administration has been playing forever. But we saw it live and uncensored for 4 years, and the media has buried it. Now, this story, again, doesn't have legs in the media, right? And I'm sure you talked about The View. And I am sure as we are broadcasting, The View will be broadcasting. They will make every excuse known to man why. And even this morning, as I was driving, I was driving in the car and I was listening to local Montreal radio, they brought up the Hunter thing. And the commentator said, that was kind of a bit of a faux pas. Like, this was the word, like, oh, it was a boo-boo. It was a mistake. It was not a mistake. This was a gross error. But again, it doesn't make a difference because what the Democrats do, there's one set of rules, and what the right does or the conservatives do is a different set of rules. And again, it just goes on to show, look, Stuart, the Bidens have always tried to bury stories. We see this, we've heard it. We've had whistleblowers come out and have been simply inundated and buried over the last 4 years. This is no different. This is I call them the Biden mafia. That's exactly what it is. Okay? If you can't shut them up, we'll find a different method. So to me, Stuart, this is no shock of what the Bidens have done. And Joe and Jill will go on and live and this and that. And, when Nancy Pelosi claimed that he should be on Mount Rushmore as one of the greatest presidents of all time, and you hear afterwards that she lied through her teeth. Voila. This is your administration that you've had for 4 years. They've been lying through their teeth for you.
Well, so is Hollywood, okay? Donald Trump got elected. They're all fleeing the country. All these people that really have come about with these lies and promoted these lies, and Hollywood is complicit. And I'm now roping in Hollywood because they stood out there and says, yeah, this guy is a good guy. He's not going to pardon his kid. He's going to stand for the moral fortitude of the fabric of what the blind judge jurist stood for, right? His son was convicted by his own Department of Justice. He wasn't convicted by a Donald Trump group. You know what I think the bottom line is and the real conspiracy theory is? I believe Donald Trump was going to commute Biden's sentence. And I don't think Biden wanted to give Donald Trump that either, because that would have made Donald Trump look like he's the good guy and Biden was the bad guy. And this is the only way he was able to give his son a clean bill. Because you know what? Do you think this is all that Biden's son was guilty of? We only know a small portion of what this kid did. He's not a kid. He's probably nearly my age at this point. But at the end of the day, I think there's more behind this. And they've tried to smuggle in language that would be for the last 10 years and the next 10 years, he's can't be charged. And that's the sad part today. And guys, I really think that all of you who thought that the Democratic Party was for the people and for you, and that running around saying that Donald Trump is a Nazi lover and relate him to Adolf Hitler and all these negative connotations, I think you need to be self-reflective at this point. Whether you're in Canada, Mexico, or the U.S., you need to take a pause. You need to understand the media isn't giving you the whole story. We don't have the whole story either. We're giving you a part of the story that no one else is giving you on any of the social channels. We have come to you with this being a prophecy from day one. I never believed he was not going to take care of his son. We never believed it. And I'm going to say it, David. What's my favorite expression I use almost every episode?
With rules for me and not for thee.
Thank you for saying it that way. I wasn't guilty of bringing it up.
There we go. You're guilty of alluding to it. No, but folks, this unfortunately is the reality. You're 100% right. It really doesn't make a difference. The Bidens have always been above the law. Let's just leave it at that. And with that, folks, we're going to wrap it up for today's episode on the Monday edition of the Rant Network. We are into December, so we're a couple of weeks away from our year in review. Please, if you have any comments about the year in review, send it to us, in our YouTube channel. You can send it to us at info@therantnetwork.com. Please check us out, folks, on the socials. We're wrapping up another great year, so we look forward to catching you every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at noon Eastern. And spread the love, spread the word. YouTube,